And welcome to the Vision Alignment Show. There's a different energy in the air today. I don't know if you can feel it or not. It just feels different. And obviously, we're kind of in a spring, kind of summer time zone, weather pattern, if you will. We're going to get cold tomorrow, but this weekend was phenomenal. We had a great time. We had some friends over on Saturday. We had a cookout. We smoked some meat. We had a campfire. Oh, it was phenomenal. And then Sunday, more of this same. We obviously went to church. We did a lot of good things together as a family. As a family, the family is me and Connie right now. As you know, the three kids have all moved out. They're on their own and they're doing great things. So we've got so many great things that we have done ourselves. And one of those great things is the Vision Alignment Show. And the Vision Alignment Show is a show where we talk about how important it is to have your core beliefs, your core values aligned with your vision. Wow. And I can't tell you, having conversations with people all across the globe, to have those conversations and to understand what they're doing and how it's aligned with their visions. I'm like, it's just crazy. And we've gotten so many good comments from people. And I'm sure you're going to hear more good comments. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the episode that's going to come up in another week. But before that, I want to make sure we get to our guest for today. Our guest for today really knows about his vision, and he knows how important it is to have his vision aligned with his core beliefs, his core strengths, his core values. So I just want to make sure that we bring on our guest today. And without any further ado, I just don't want to beleaguer it, but I want to bring on our guest, none other than Mr. Austin Grammon.
Hello. Do I take a bow?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that what I'm supposed to do? Okay, great.
It's so good seeing you on here today.
Oh man, it is really an honor. Thanks for having me.
I thank you for your time. I know you're getting up early to come and be with us, so it's very appreciative.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure. This is a newer habit of mine, but I've been waking up at 5 every day, and I spend my first hour like going on a walk and drinking some coffee, and then I sort of just like slowly ease into the hustle and bustle with email, like low level stuff. So anyways, I've been up and at it for 3 hours now. I've had 3 cups of coffee in that time frame. I am ready to go.
You are ready to go. That's awesome.
For sure.
Well, thank you so much. Well, Austin, tell me, when is your first recollection of knowing your vision?
First recollection of knowing my vision. Well, I mean, vision is kind of on a spectrum, right? There's like the long-term vision and the short-term vision. So I feel like ever since I was a kid, I was kind of driven by what I felt was possible. I threw myself into school. I threw myself into various sports, and it's because I could see this outcome that I was chasing. I've always been a very outcome-focused individual. But the first time that I really like intentionally, consciously made the decision to like formalize my vision in a way that like now I have something that I'm going to chase over the long haul. I was a teenager, actually. I ran away from home when I was 16. And so
really?
Fun fact. Most people don't know this. I dropped out of high school, like the whole thing. I left home with my now wife actually at the time. But I just had this burning knowledge in me that I could create the life that I wanted. And so I wasn't even really sure 100% what that was after, but this vision that I had for myself, I knew was one where I was self-guiding it. And I mean, like my whole life has unraveled like from that point, really. That was like the catalyst for everything that came after that. So I think that's probably like the specific instance that I can think of.
Wow.
Yeah.
if you want to hear more, stay right there.
Sorry.
Are you dancing?
Oh yeah, that was good. I love that intro.
I try. Wow. What a great lead into so many different things. So you ran away from home at the age of 16.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How far
that
did you
happened. All the way. So my wife and I, we grew up in Utah. So we're born and raised here. We live here now again. We came back. But we left from Utah and went to Portland, Oregon. And we stayed there for, permanently. We were there for 2-3 years, something like that. And then I got involved in a professional organization that sent me to Arizona, and my wife came with me for that. So anyways, that's further along in the story. But yeah, I got all the way, like as far away as I could.
You didn't come back?
No, that was that.
Yeah. Huh. And so what did your parents do?
Well, I mean, it was rocky, as you might imagine, running away from home. They were worried, obviously. Like things weren't amazing, obviously, because I left home. And so, there was tension and all that. And I honestly, I didn't even talk to them for the first year. I just completely disconnected. Yeah. But this turns out to be a positive, heartwarming story. We came back together. Our relationship is extremely strong at this point on both sides of our family, my side and my wife's side. So it came full circle, I guess is what I'm saying. But it was rough for a while. Wow. It was rough. Yeah. And we were totally isolated. I had a backpack and a laptop and a pair of clothes and $400. And that was what, so we just made it work without the support of family and stuff.
And that was it.
That was that. Yeah. Yep. An adventure ensued, as you might expect, but
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a big thing that happened in my life.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, well, I guess the more you know. So
we could talk about that for a long time.
Sure, anytime. Right. Hey, we're about to see each other in the flesh, and maybe we can do that there.
I know. Crazy.
I know. Influence. If anybody here is listening to this, we'll see you there.
Yeah. Well, cool. Gosh. I don't know where to go from here. Let me ask you, when you did that, how did that, obviously your parents were upset, but how did that make you feel?
Me? I mean, I felt empowered. Like I said, I mean, this whole thing came from just this sense that I needed to define my own future for myself. I felt very much like I was an individual, and as an individual, I wanted to make my own choices and go my own way. And I remember there was definitely some fear there. You leap into the unknown, right? I mean, anything meaningful in life, I think at times can feel like a leap into the unknown. But yeah, by the time I was really settling into life away, it was awesome. I really felt emboldened to be who I wanted to be, and I screwed up so many times. I'm not just saying I turned into this success or something, but yeah, I felt like I was making my own choices, and as an adult or whatever, looking back on things, it's it seems like no big deal. But at the time, that was really what I needed in my life. So it was good. I felt empowered. That was probably the best word for it.
Good for you. Good for you. So just, we've got some people on that wanted to say hi. So there's Ted live from, and hey, I can't read that. So nice to finally be able to get to listen. Oh, well, thanks, Ted. Ted's a man. And then there's also Linda. Hello, Linda. Oh, wrong one. Oh, there's Linda. Good morning, Linda. Coming in from, where are you coming in from? Oh, she's going to be in Nashville. Nice. That's good. That's good. So, wow. There's so much that we have to learn from just, I mean, that doing that is really like a metaphor for living life, for doing things, to just be emboldened and to go out and do things and make some mistakes.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I think there's so many people that miss so many opportunities in their lives, the opportunities that are just right in front of them, because they're so afraid of taking the wrong step and failing, right, and falling on your face. And like I get that. I'm afraid of that too sometimes. So I'm not saying that that's like something that we shouldn't be as humans. That's just like the natural tendency. But there really is something to be said for the person that just goes out there and does the thing. And um, I don't know. I think if you're willing to fail, you'll probably learn way more lessons, which just seems like a spiral up into the direction that you want to be going over time. Although it might suck in the moment, over time, right direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So what do you think the biggest factor in your success has been?
Oh man. Like I know we're on the vision alignment show here, so this might sound a little cheesy, but like it really is the ability to craft a vision. And I think people look at that as like a daydream sometimes. Like vision is just like this thing that I wish would happen or something. And it can be that. It should be elements of that. A vision should excite you, I think. But the vision has to be like reverse engineered backwards into the here and now. And like this is actually a principle that we teach at SpeakerFlow. So this is me eating my or taking my own medicine, if you will. But you have to like I've constantly just tried to really get clear about what I want and then just ask the logical questions necessary that gets me from where I'm at now to where I'm at there. And then like you take some steps and you probably end up going in the wrong direction. And so you have to stop and realign and think about what you really want again and take into account the new information you've gleaned from taking those few steps, and then maybe course correct by 10 degrees and start walking a little bit that way. But like I think just the act of intentionally deciding what we want, like setting a vision for the future, taking the time to consider what it's going to take between where I'm at now and where I want to be in order to actualize that vision, and then just like taking steps and paying attention and reassessing along the way to make sure progress is being made in some direction or another, then probably anybody will be successful. There's no magic formula to this. If you want to be successful, it's decide what that means to you and then take a bunch of action and watch what happens, and then take more action based on what you learned. Like that's the whole formula. So I don't know if that answers your question.
And what you learn often comes from failure, from making mistakes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it failure.
Oh, no, making mistake. Yeah, all of it, whatever the label we want to use. One of the people
like
that
says.
Failure stepping stones. Yes, right. Ted gets it. Exactly. Yeah. One of the people that's been super influential in my life is a guy named Gino Wickman. Now, Gino is a visionary guy, you might say. But he runs an organization called EOS Worldwide, I think, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. He wrote a book a long time ago called Traction. Sorry. And Traction sort of put his name out there on the map. But it's become this whole global widespread thing and a big part of the EOS system. Holy crap. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes. So there's people that go out there and implement that professionally, right? And there's a podcast about it. And so I've consumed a lot of their content. I actually implemented EOS for a little while. But there's this one quote that stuck with me forever, that a good EOS implementer is not there to guarantee your success. A good EOS implementer is there to guarantee that you fail faster. And the idea behind that is that the faster that we fail, the faster that we learn those lessons and get out of the way, the faster we can course correct to get us in the right direction. So I think it's not even just like something that you have to accept as part of the process. Like it's the process. That is what you do, is you go out, you take action, you fall on your face, and then you get back up and figure out what the heck you did wrong and course correct and keep taking more steps and rinse and repeat that. And eventually you're going to get somewhere. As long as you're paying attention, it'll be the right place.
Yeah. I mean, it takes what's hard for me to understand is it takes different amount of time for different people. I mean, I think about how important it is to do this, to make many mistakes, but also to keep moving. But I get, and I'm sure you do as well, get frustrated at times where it takes longer for you than it does somebody else.
Yeah, definitely. Well, comparison is a real problem. And especially in the world that we're in today, like we're constantly staring down the barrel of everybody else's highlight reels. And it's really easy to feel like, you're the only person falling on your face.
Yeah.
So that's why these conversations are important. We all need to know we're all falling on our face. Like that's what we're doing as humans. So we're in it together. There's solidarity in that,
I love that. I love that. That's so true.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are some of the obstacles or challenges you're still working on?
Oh man. Like how much time do we have here? Like 10, 12 hours? Is
It's
that
a
what we got?
half-hour show.
Okay, great. Well, I will be concise. There's constantly things in my way. Usually it's me. Usually I'm the person getting in my own way, I find. Like almost always it's not extra or third party stuff that's blocking me. Usually it's me. So like I get in my head about what's possible. I get imposter syndrome. Like who gives me the right to be doing this stuff? Or I don't know. I get overwhelmed. Like I even just email, right? Just email sometimes. I'm looking at my inbox and I could just feel my overwhelm rising, and then in overwhelm mode, you start spiraling. And like now I'm just scrolling mindlessly through some, article I found because it distracts me. I see you scratching your head.
even you have those problems.
Of course. Yes. Oh my gosh.
You are one to be. I envy you sometimes. Maybe it's bad, but I think wow, this guy has really got it going on. He's got SpeakerFlow, and then we haven't even talked about SpeakerFlow yet. I want to go into that too. But I mean, what you're doing with that and the whole organization, and you and Taylor and the others that are on board, you've done phenomenal things.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, but yes, definitely, this is all me all the time too. I'm just a person. We all are,
All right. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that we have some commonalities. Oh my gosh, I'm having trouble with this new tongue today.
Your new tongue? Did you just find one? Have you been missing it for a while?
Well, yeah, it's kind of strange.
Yeah, well,
it's a whole other story.
Glad you found it.
Yeah, thanks.
About you. Yep.
So what you've done, you've gone from running away at 16. You did multiple different things after that. I mean, we can see that from your bio, the lead in for this. But how do you end up where we are now with SpeakerFlow and being a co-founder of that?
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, it's been a journey. So SpeakerFlow started in 19. So we're coming up on our 3-year anniversary in May, actually. It's just right around the corner. But I don't know, like, honestly, the whole origin story is us just paying attention. Like there's nothing fancy about this. I just happened into this industry of professional speaking, and it just so happened there were a lot of people complaining to me about feeling disorganized and scattered and everything. And so like it was just a logical, like if we can find a solution to that, then that's probably a business right there. We can help a lot of people along the way. And we've always felt this, I don't know, sense of purpose and being able to put world changers out there at an amplified level, which is really kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, like, I think the root of it is that we just have been focused on solving problems. Like that's all we've done. And like every iteration that we've made on our organization and ourselves as individuals has just been based around that. Like, how can we either solve these problems better and or faster and or before they become bigger problems? So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I think that's kind of like the thing that got us to this point. Obviously there's been a million stepping stones along the way, but I don't know how in the details you want me to go right now.
Well, that's great. I appreciate knowing that. You or Taylor, neither one have been speakers before, right?
No.
But you know how to sell. How do you know how to sell?
Yeah. So this actually goes back to, well, the organization that took me from Portland, Arizona, but also the origin story of my partner, Taylor, and I. We were in a direct marketing organization. We worked with big box retail stores, and we'd go into, like think of your typical home improvement store. And basically we'd source leads for their services department. So for like a kitchen remodeling was the thing that we were working on specifically. So originally that was my job, is I would go into these retail stores and generate leads for these big companies. And it went well enough that I got promoted several times and ended up in Arizona opening a new location. And Taylor was actually at school at ASU at the time and had just decided to drop out and was looking for a job. And so I hired him. He became like one of my sales guys in our
Are you
new
kidding me?
Arizona location. I'm dead serious. Yep. Yeah. So we together then were in stores generating leads and training and building teams of these reps. And that ended up being across the country. We spent time in Chicago and Detroit and Portland, my origin story, and Denver, Colorado. Like we just went all around the country training these little pods of salespeople. And so that was the start of that. That taught us a bunch of different skill sets. I mean, for sure, sales and just conversation, relationship building, especially fast relationship building. And it taught us, organizational skills and how to recruit and train people. And like, that was really the foundation for most of my professional skills. And that translated into our own entrepreneurial ventures thereafter.
Tell us about fast relationship building. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, our job, we were in a retail environment. And so these people were like in the stores shopping for their stuff. They, went to buy super glue or something. And so as a lead generator, myself and our sales teams would have to like go and interrupt that person in the middle of their shopping, which like, have you ever been interrupted in a store by the person trying to sell you DirecTV? It sucks. It's not fun.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to minimize the suckage of that situation, while also like building enough rapport that they're interested in at least having a conversation with you, let alone listening to your pitch for whatever it is that they want. And what was funny is like what we were selling in the stores was free. It was a free in-home sort of consultation thing with their services departments. And so we were giving something away, but like convincing somebody to take something that's free from you is a really weird dynamic to be in. And so yeah, so what I mean by fast relationship is that you'd have to interrupt somebody in the middle of what they were doing. And I'm talking 10 sentences max, probably more like 3. You had to get their attention enough that they'd be willing to like sit there and listen to you in the middle of their busy day, which was a valuable skill set to learn looking back on things.
Yeah. So you talk about minimizing suckage.
Yeah, that's the technical term, obviously.
It is really.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So how do you do that? I mean, how do you do that? How do you not come off can? I mean, you have 10 sentences, right? And you want to get their attention. You want to get them to buy. You want to get them more interested, right? So this is a lesson for all of us on the show right now. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, this is it's rapport building is sort of the label that I would put on this. And, for somebody that wants to go way deeper in this and hear from somebody that's substantially smarter than I am, there's an awesome YouTube channel called Charisma on Command. And he does some amazing work over there and just really like breaks down like scientifically almost like what makes somebody charismatic and how to build rapport with somebody. So definitely go check that out if anybody's interested. But honestly, like it's about making it personal and making it relevant and doing both of those things as fast as humanly possible, right? So like when you'd walk up to somebody, you wouldn't immediately say, "Hey, I've got something to sell you right now." You'd walk up and say, "Hey, I like your shoes," or like, "Oh, that's a nice color of paint that you're looking at," or basically like you just want to like get them open to having a conversation to you. Thank you, Merritt Khan, if you're listening to this. But
Merritt Khan?
Yeah, she's awesome. She's coined the term "Are you open to" as a sales mechanism. So getting somebody's mind open to having a conversation with you is really the key here. But yeah, and then you got to make it relevant. And so and this is 2 parts. A, because you want them to be interested if it's relevant, but B, because you want people with whom it's not relevant to like get out of your way in a loving way, but like you just don't want to have to waste time. So a lot of it, like one of our first lines is, are you planning on updating your kitchen in the next 6 to 12 months? And that would tell us if they have any sort of inkling of interest at all in having a conversation with us, because if they don't, then they aren't interested in what we have. So we'd ask that question real fast, like in the first 30 seconds of the interaction. And if it was a yes, then we'd continue along, and now they're a little bit interested because we have this commonality that we found. And if it's a no, then have a nice day. High five.
Right. You can go on.
Yeah. So anyways, relevancy and like attention, personability, those are the 2 things you really want.
Wow, that's good. So Let's talk a little bit about blind spots.
Okay.
Who helps to see your blind spots?
Oh my gosh, my partner Taylor. I mean, in terms of business, let me specify that because it's my wife if we're talking like probably as a whole, but
No, business. So
I
I
figured,
struggle
yeah.
with that too. So I think business blind spots. Your wife, I'm sure your wife's very nice and everything, but you can't. I can't, anyways. I can't take advice always from my wife.
Sure. My
And
wife would
maybe that's a
probably
flaw
agree
of
with
mine.
you. No, I mean, sometimes like I think you just got to get a couple of steps removed. Taylor and I tell each other all the time that you can't read the label while you're in the bottle. And so I
Right.
think like sometimes, like my wife's in the bottle with me sometimes. So Taylor's
Mm.
a pretty good neutral third party for a lot of decision making stuff. But yeah, I mean, he helps me see my blind spots. He asks me questions. He asks me tough questions,
Mm.
which I think is maybe the key to that, at least for me.
What would you say is one of the toughest questions you get?
Ooh, get consistently or have had at any point in my life?
No, you get consistently from Taylor. I mean, obviously Taylor asked tough questions.
Yeah.
What's one of the toughest questions he asked?
I think he's really just good at asking like why. He asked me to unpack things, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny because I think oftentimes we make things oversimplified and we also overcomplicate things. Humans are
Mm-hmm.
finicky creatures, but I think sometimes I oversimplify things. And so something that just like sort of intuitively makes sense, I'll just skip over and he'll tell me to like slow down and have me unpack my thoughts around something. And
Yeah.
oftentimes it's like, oh, wow, I didn't think that through and it's a terrible idea. Sometimes it's a great idea, but not always. And so
Mm-hmm.
probably just a simple why is the most helpful thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's Ted here. This is business. I try to include. I can't read that. I try to include a way both businesses to grow businesses. So it seems like the benefit of mutually beneficial businesses relationships, and then explain. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. And then Ken says, "Sounds familiar to me." I thought it was just me, Ken.
Nope.
But Ted asked another question. He asked if I had a YouTube site. So obviously I do have a YouTube site, and that is hopefully going to come up in the comments here in a second. If I do, yeah, there it is. So you just go to YouTube and then go to radicalvision.com. So that's how you get there. Wow. Oh my gosh, we're almost at the end of our time already.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh man, you've been such a phenomenal guest. So tell us, I mean, really part of this show that we have, we do this for business owners, for small business owners, for speakers. We have a number of people on online today, but we also talk about disabilities. And obviously, I have a disability with my eye, but we all have a disability in our lives. So sometimes we just don't know it. And that in itself can be a disability.
Sure.
But when was the first time you were approached with someone that had a disability and you saw some prejudice from them or on them?
Yeah. It's a good question. um, I honestly don't know if I've had that many instances in at least my professional life where in the workplace I've had to deal with that type of situation. However, I was involved in a situation that I think answers this question. I think it's interesting. So, there's an organization out there called the Invisible Disabilities Foundation. And it started because there were a few people that weren't neurotypical who were killed by police during police interactions due to the police officer not knowing that the person wasn't neurotypical. And then in the interaction they thought that maybe they were under the influence of something or whatever. They were resistant, combative, and ended up getting somebody killed. So it's just an awful tragic situation. And so there's a prejudice right there. There's a disability that's underneath the surface. Maybe it's not obvious, you can't see it from the outside, but it's there. And and we need a way to make this happen. So this organization, amazing, by the way. In fact, if you're in a state that has not yet rolled this out, which is essentially a stamp that goes on a driver's license that is indicative that the person has one of these invisible disabilities, so that a police officer or whomever else needs to know does know in that type of interaction, definitely talk to your local lawmakers. We were able to do that here in Utah, and I'm pretty sure that that law just passed in this last legislative session to put those stamps on driver's licenses. So anyways, that was just a whole interesting situation. It was kind of cool for me to be involved in, and it honestly painted a picture that I had never even thought of before. There's this whole community that's really struggled with this awful, tragic thing, and it just doesn't get talked about that much. So I was privileged to be able to have that conversation in a lot of ways.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. That takes us well over our time, and I know you got other things to do, and I do as well. So I want to thank you, first of all, for coming on today. It's been phenomenal to have you on.
Oh, it's really been an honor. Thank you for having me.
Would you do us the honor of coming back someday?
Sure, of course, anytime.
Someday soon, hopefully.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So that would be awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
What if there was something you would leave our audience with? What would it be?
I mean, besides like Brian's the man, so whatever he's up to, just go do that as well.
Yeah, sure.
Man, I don't know. Like if we're talking about as it relates to the vision alignment show, pay attention and ask yourself the questions. What do you want? You can make it happen. You just have to define it first. So,
yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm gonna, if you would, hang out in the green room for me. Sure. And then I'll be there in a little bit, and we'll get a chance to chat.
Sounds good. Great to see everybody. Bye.
All right. Good seeing you, Austin. Bye. Wow. Another great show. Another great time. And this time was with Austin Grammon. I mean, he's done so much. He's just pushed himself so hard. Obviously, since the time he was 16. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. But really, hopefully, we can bring him back and we get to learn more from him. So thank you all for joining today. I really appreciate that. But we do have another show coming up next Monday, and next Monday is going to be Anna Calliopa. So love that name. She is coming to us from the CTA Supports, which happens to be another organization in Utah. Thank you very much. But they support kids that have autism. They're on the range or the spectrum for autism. So look forward to having her on there next Monday, and here next Monday. But if there's ever anything else that I can do for you, by all means, let me know. And as always,